What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Matt Ryan Show. Your host, Ryan Gunn, alongside Mr. Matthew Hargrove. How are you doing on this fine Monday evening?
We're doing beautiful. Second round games, good hoops. I did tell you, for those that are watching and not doing just the audio, I got the Steagles shirt on. Was a present to me, but I knew I wore it today because I knew you would appreciate it being an Eagles fan. But it's something that we can connect to. So this was at the bottom. You can't see it real well. It says 1943. So during the years of World War II,
Obviously.
I believe the story was they didn't have enough players, so they combined the Steelers and the Eagles to make one big football team. And they called them the Pittsburgh Steagles. So
Obviously.
that's why we
It's a
have
very cool shirt.
an eagle wearing a helmet, which was probably the Steelers logo of um, the 1940s. So
Very
very
cool
cool.
shirt.
I wish they would bring the team back because I think my mental health would be better. I would love to combine with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Can you
And by
imagine that
that,
team?
well, yeah, it would just be the Eagles roster.
I mean, most of it would. What Steeler players would be on that team?
I can tell you which
TJ,
ones would not be. Yeah, TJ, obviously.
TJ Watt would
Um,
be.
I don't want George Pickens. I don't. I don't want.
I think.
You don't even have Najee anymore. So
I think. I mean, like,
I'd like Jalen Warren, honestly.
yeah, Jalen Warren would be a nice little backup running back. I
Pretty
mean,
much Minka.
Mason
Minka.
Rudolph would be a good backup for the team. We'd
I'd
have
say he
some.
could start. He's gonna start this year. Might as well.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is coming. It's
Um,
all right.
Minka.
Um,
I think Minka.
Minka, yeah.
So
Steagles, what a concept back in the day. They're just
Steagles.
like, yeah, let's throw two teams together because we're out of players.
Why not?
Let's not cancel the team or the league. Let's just and
Let's
go
just
fight the
combine
war.
them.
Let's just combine players so that yeah, good for them. They got it done. Um, let's start off because you're wearing an Steagles shirt. Sorry. Obviously I've got to represent today.
Oh, gotcha.
We're going to start off hot. We usually don't start with the best thing, but I'm feeling juicy today. As of recording on Monday, May the 5th, Steph Curry is the full owner and I guess mayor of Houston, and he's the owner of the Rockets. Daryl Morey is basically nobody compared to um, Steph Curry. I know he's not even there anymore, but the way that Steph Curry has dismantled the Rockets. Big Cat, I saw Big Cat say it best. Steph Curry was there when they were the peak Houston Rockets teams, which was 15, 16, especially that 17 team, or 18, whichever one that went to game 7. And then they went through a rebuild to where they got like 3 top 10 picks in a few years. And now they're back up again, and they're still just 35-year-old Steph Curry chilling, hanging out. And he didn't even have a great series, but it's just the gravity. And one of the things I want to talk to you about, obviously, Warriors win Game 7. It was a well-fought series. Houston had 2 amazing games in Game 5 and 6. The Warriors didn't really have an answer for Steven Adams. Ime Udoka made a great change putting him in there. And then Steve Kerr combated that with Kevon Looney in Game 7 and really kind of took away that aspect of it. Made him play more in the half court, limited the turnovers. But if you ever just watch a Warriors game, watch Steph Curry. Don't watch the actual game. Watch him fight to get open every possession. It is the most tiring thing to watch in your entire life. It boggles my mind how he doesn't get frustrated every single time down the floor. He's getting doubled as soon as he crosses half court. Almost if he doesn't, like even if he doesn't have the ball, there's 2 people always got eyes on him. It makes it easy for guys like Buddy Hield. Obviously, he had a great Game 7. Nobody rotates because you can't rotate off Steph Curry. Like most teams, if you have to help, you help and recover. There's no helping off Steph Curry, so it just leads up and it's wide open. Buddy Hield just got he got going in the first quarter and kept it going. But just a well fought game seven from the Warriors. It really showed the inexperience of Houston in that game. But just a happy fan. That's all I want to say.
Buddy Hield
Yeah.
came out of nowhere. That was the game that everybody's been waiting on for him to have.
You know what's awful is I've bet Buddy Hield to hit a certain amount of shots. I've had a parlay with Buddy Hield and Amin Thompson. Buddy Hield 4 threes, Amin Thompson 20 points. Buddy Hield 5 threes, Amin Thompson 25 points. I did that for 3 games. I did that with Pajimski for 4 games, and the 2 that I didn't are the 2 that he actually hit shots. And then, of course, game 7 is the one Buddy Hield finally goes off, and Amin Thompson. Yeah, Buddy, he saw one go in early, and then he got a good look on the second one, and then that half court shot was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm in this game, I'm really feeling it. The second quarter, he kind of really took over, and it kind of helps when all the attention's on everybody else. Jimmy didn't really have a great series, I would say, not a playoff Jimmy performance in this series. Part of it is because of the injury. I don't think he was quite the same after that, except for the game where Dylan Brooks pissed him off. Shout out to Dylan Brooks. Thank you for that. But
Go Ducks.
it was a well-rounded effort from all the guys because there really wasn't, that big game from any one player.
Want to ask you if the Rockets are Steph Curry's LeBron.
Yeah, and this is my personal opinion, and people are going to say it's biased, and maybe it is. I think what he's doing to the Rockets is worse than what LeBron was doing to Toronto, and I think simply for the fact that nobody ever took Toronto seriously, and especially in the East. If Toronto was in the West, they would never sniff the semi-conference finals, let alone the actual conference finals. So, or the quarterfinals, whatever you want to call them. So the Houston Rockets had a legit chance to win an NBA title in 2018. They took the Warriors to Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals. You would have thought that was where the Warriors lost it. Was it the Western Conference Finals? The playoffs get so bogged up in my head.
Yeah, that was the. It wasn't the LeBron Cavs, obviously, because those LeBron Cavs teams, when they got to the finals with Kevin Durant, they were not even in those series. They went 1-8, and I can't even think of the game. And the one game they won, I'm pretty sure it was a 3-0 series. They just won one at Cleveland, and then they went back to Golden State and ended up getting the job done. But I think the reason why they pay more attention to the LeBron James against the Raptors is because there's an actual name affiliated with
Yeah.
it, and it's LeBron James. But yeah, that the Rockets, I'll never forget. Probably the most famous game between these two is just that Game 7 when they went, what was it, 0 for 27
Yeah.
from 3. And the Rockets still only lost. They barely lost that game, going over 27, and it hurt a little bit more because that's when a lot of people were having those conversations about James Harden, and he needs to get to a finals, and then that was just a really bad look.
And we'll talk about him later.
You make a good point because collectively, those Houston Rockets teams that Steph has always gone up against is definitely better than all the Raptors teams. I don't know about the Raptors team that went to the finals, but LeBron never had to play
was in
that
the
team.
East. Yeah, he was in the West when that happened.
LeBron never had to play that team. But yeah, those DeMar DeRozans and Kyle Lowry teams, nobody ever took those teams seriously.
And I don't want to I'm yes, I'm a Warriors fan, and no, I don't prefer LeBron, but I don't diminish his accomplishments, kind of like a bunch of other people do. However, it'd be so cool to see what would happen if LeBron was in the West for most of his career instead of in the East. Like when he gets to the finals from the West, it'd be like Jordan, where it was a sweep every single time. Where it's like he went 4-0 or 5-0, in the finals. But he just wouldn't get there. Like it was so easy in the East for LeBron. Obviously, we're talking about a different
I
breed here.
see. I do agree that it was the road. The road was not as tough, but I still believe he would have 4 rings. He would.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Um,
well, I don't know about four.
I think so because they ended up beating the OKC Thunder in what was that, 2012? The
2012.
Thunder
Yeah.
were undoubtedly the best team in the West. Probably,
Yes.
probably.
Well, yeah,
So,
probably. They were just
so
so young.
well, think about it's hard to tell because it's like what team would he be on in the West?
Right. That
So
plays a big part, but also it's like the gauntlet every year of going through, you know, Tim Duncan, OKC when they had KD, the Warriors, the Rockets. Like throughout the years, you've had team after team, and you kind of see it now. Obviously, LeBron, since he's been in LA, has been 30. He was 34, 35 when he got here. I say here like I'm in LA. When he got to LA, so like it's a different road, but he's made the finals once, and it was in 2020, and he got swept in the Western Conference Finals, and that's about as far as he's gotten. He did miss a playoff in 2019, or like his first year in LA. They weren't going to do anything in the playoffs anyway, but they never got there because he got injured halfway through the year. And then after that, it's just kind of like,
well,
you know,
what are the great teams that you think he has played in the East? Because they
I
did make
think
it to the finals when they beat the
er,
Paul Pierce Celtic.
early Celtics, early Pistons. Even when he was on the Heat, the Celtics were still a good team. Um, those
I just
Indiana
think
teams,
I
those
think
Indiana teams were tough.
I think it's a lame argument because people
But
want to
here's the thing.
people want to bring up I, I think it is a true hater argument, and the reason why I say that is, yeah, maybe they weren't as talented, but they were still really good teams, and to do that 9 years in a row is still an accomplishment. It's still an
There was no
accomplishment.
there was no Tim Duncan, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry on the East. Not even half of those players
Well, I
were on the
think
East
people just
side
focused on the Raptors. They focused
because that's
on
who
that
got to the
team.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, yeah, they did, but I still think they had to play when he was with the Miami Heat. You still had to play a really good Boston Celtics team. Those
Yeah,
Pacers teams. Do we not think that Paul George and those Pacers teams were all that? Paul
I said they
Paul
were good.
George Paul George was a superstar during
Yeah,
that age. So do we not think? And then he ended up beating the Spurs. So I mean, I just think it's I'm not disagreeing with you, but
but
I
he
think
also he's lost. What is it? 6 times in the finals. Is that what it is? Is
yeah,
it
he
four and
has.
six?
He
So like
has. What I'm saying
what
is
I'm saying is he might be 4-0 in the finals if he went to the West instead of 4-6 in the finals, which
well,
I think would actually help
honestly,
his.
I don't care about losses in the finals. Like when people try to bring that up with,
I
I
don't either. That's my point though. Is like because if you put Jordan in the West, I don't think he gets. I don't. I think the teams he would play in the finals in the East, he would lose to. He would have lost to the Celtics multiple times. In the West back then, he would have got to the finals 12 times. He would have lost 6 of them, if not seven. Like he wouldn't have been 6-0. That was kind of the only point. It would have been interesting to see, what team he would have been on, the development of like would everybody then go to the East at that point? What would the East look like now if LeBron was in the West for 14
yeah,
years? It's
it's
just
also I think a hater
it's
argument because
it's just a bunch of what ifs.
well that's the thing too is like I remember when Milwaukee won their championship and everybody was like, well, if Katie had his foot on the line and they were healthy, and I'm
Yeah,
like, well, a LeBron James can't control that he had an easier path in the East. So it's
no,
like we're really going to diminish his legacy on something that he can't control. You know what I mean?
right. Well, and I don't understand why everybody goes to the West. Why, like even in today's game, like you see superstars, they'll leave the East to go to the West, and you're like you're either teaming up with somebody that's really really good, or you're making your life a hell of a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Stay in the like. Paul George went from the Clippers to the Sixers, but he's on the downswing of his career, not the other way around. Like the Indiana Pacers, yeah, they're good, but I don't think they're beating the top 3 teams in the West or the top 4 teams in the West, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say at that time when Paul George did come to the Clippers, I think the Clippers were considered the best team in the West. And I don't think there was, because you had the Lakers. So, yeah, you had to battle with the Lakers. But think about the other teams. Nobody really took the Trailblazers legit. And then the Nuggets were still kind of young. So I don't think it was as loaded. I think it's just a perfect time that, like, all these guys at the right point in the West are hitting their strides. You know,
yeah.
Shea and all those
Well,
guys.
and
So
the reason I brought up LeBron was more of the fact that I think we got lucky because we could have seen the finals kind of like we did in 2020, where it's like you knew the Lakers were going to win. Nobody really had faith in the Heat. And it could have been that for 10 years instead of Warriors LeBron. This is awesome. Like everybody,
yeah,
even
yeah.
when they had KD, they were like, well, it's still LeBron. You still got a shot. So, and obviously, you know, you could do a whole bunch of what ifs. Like, what if, the Warriors didn't lose 3-1 and LeBron goes to 8 straight and
Yeah,
loses and
that's the
wins?
thing
Like,
is I hate when people diminish somebody's legacy on
on what
on
ifs.
something they can't control. It's just so ridiculous, and I think it's just such a hater. Like that's what haters go to. Is they're like, well, what if? And it's like, well, you just hate that it didn't happen. And
Yeah.
call me soft in my older age as I'm getting older. But I'm starting to hate more and more of the arguments on a single player when it's like I guess and what I'm trying to bring up is and I know you're gonna hate this, the James Harden thing. Um I'm starting to hate, like, James Harden's had a phenomenal career. And I'm just
Are,
saying, like,
are we talking postseason or regular season?
I mean regular season. Regular season. I'm just saying, like, again, call me soft. Call me soft.
I will.
Um it's like basketball's a team sport. I think you know where I'm going. It's like, are we
No,
are
if
we
you're joking or
over?
not,
Well, I'm just no. I'm being dead serious. I hate being like, oh, like this is James Harden's legacy, but it's a team game. It's like, I think yeah, it's like James Harden's got to step up, but at the same time, I hate how we're like, oh, the James Harden team from back then. It's like that was the
can we
Rockets, or I don't know. Maybe that's
let me do some quick research just so I can
listen.
I don't want to
Listen, I know.
hyperbolize what I'm about to say because I really just want to get the
No, you're gonna
facts right.
change my mind because I've never had that mindset until.
Yeah, let me change your mind. Let me well, let's see. James Harden has now lost a game 7 with 4 different okay. That's all the headline says. Here's my thing.
Well, what I want to ask you
I
real
believed
quick.
in him this year, and it's because he had a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and he didn't have to be the guy. That is why I picked the Clippers in the first round anyway. Now, did I say Norman Powell's going to have a fantastic Game 7 and break your hearts? Yeah, I did. Is that a horrible take? Absolutely, absolutely. Um, would I do it again? Yes, I would, because it was such a good series. James Harden played well the first few games. The problem with him is he disappears when he doesn't get his way. And what I mean by that is like when he's not getting foul calls early or when he doesn't hit his first few shots, he kind of becomes passive and like out of the game. He checks out mentally. So I quit giving him passes when I realized that Chris Paul made the Lakers fun in the West. Now they never could get it done because Chris
You
Paul was
mean
the
the
best player.
Clippers,
Yeah, what'd I say?
Lakers?
Yeah, I meant Clippers. Um, and then he went to OKC and he taught Shea how to play basketball and he dragged the Thunder pretty much to the playoffs when they were awful. And then he went to the Rockets and he took them to a game 7 against the eventual champion Golden State Warriors. And he wins everywhere he goes. Now, obviously, in his older career,
And Phoenix and
and
Phoenix.
Phoenix took him to a finals. I just think he's not the number one guy, which is why, but his name gets dragged through the mud because he hasn't won a championship. But it's like he's been consistently better in the playoffs, or to get to teams to playoffs as like the second guy than anybody in recent memory. Obviously, you
Yeah.
got a few Robins, like you've got the Clay Thompsons, you've got the Kyries, but like a guy that just consistently can go anywhere and just produce
Oh yeah.
is kind of insane. Like
The game that's always in my mind, and the only reason why is because I'm a Nuggets fan. But when Phoenix swept Denver in the Western Conference semifinals, the guy that I was scared of most in that series was Chris Paul because it was either
crazy.
game 3 or 4. He was unstoppable. It wasn't like just his passing, but he would come off those pick and he would either make the perfect pass or he was pretty much 100% on that mid range from the free throw line.
It's that high dribble, and that high dribble
Yes.
gets him time to look up, and he knows exactly what he's going to do. It's either I'm taking that shot or I'm dumping it off,
Yeah.
or I'm hitting the corner. Like that one high dribble in the mid range area is just so he can have a little bit of time to look around and see what's going on. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
And when he decides he's practiced that shot so much that
It's so easy.
money.
And it's over his right shoulder, and it's such
Yeah.
a weird shot that nobody can get to it. It's just a perfect for a 6 foot guard. He has had more influence on almost championship teams. That's the biggest part. Is
Yeah.
no, he hasn't won anywhere,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's interesting you mentioned that, and I know we've gotten off topic because we're supposed to be talking about the Warriors, but that Harden game, it seems like it's funny that you mentioned that about early on in the game because to me it seems like he wanted to stay patient and he was going to wait for the fourth quarter when everything was close, and then that's what I was thinking he was doing because on
I
the
know. But at
broadcast they were
some
like
point,
James Harden's not taking shots, but he had like 10
hit 13
assists.
assists. Yeah,
So in the first half, so I was like, okay, he's just playing the waiting game, and then when this game is close in the fourth, that's when he's gonna attack.
but here's my issue, and this is not the Matthew Hargrove that I know. So I'm trying to figure out where you're at right now, because the Matthew Hargrove that I know would say you can get your assists in the first quarter or the second quarter, but the second you go down 8 or 6,
Correct.
Or
You're
when it
right.
feels like you're about to lose it on the road, you have to start taking shots. I don't care.
Correct.
That's the point where you go, all right, now I got to take over and at least keep us in this game. Because in the third quarter, it should not be a 30-point blowout in a game
You're
7.
right. You're right. There was a moment. It was Clippers were down 11 but the Nuggets really they were amazing in the third quarter. And that's when I was wondering, okay, Harden, like you're going to have to weather the storm and keep your guys in the game. And he just was not taking shots. The only guy was Kawhi Leonard. But anyways, that's just you're right. You changed my mind. You're right. I was just
And what
wondering
a series, by the way. What a series. I know you weren't high on the Clippers, but Kawhi Leonard really it's so fun to watch when he is healthy. It is insane.
Yeah. He was the only one that actually showed up in that game.
Consistently, yeah. He does it every time.
Yeah. But
unfortunately,
yeah.
it was gone too soon. Like didn't have a shot to even come close to being
No.
a hero or anything. But
Yeah.
great series
anyway,
nonetheless.
Yeah, back to the Warriors. Awesome series. You texted me during this game because I did not get to watch the full thing. But
Yeah.
you just said that the Rockets, it looked like they just simply were not ready, pretty much. Or Sagoon.
I texted you.
Sagoon.
Say what I texted.
Yeah, you said Sagoon was not ready for prime time.
And he wasn't.
And we even said before the playoffs started that if the Rockets lost first round, I would not think a thing think a thing of it. They're still a young team, and
I
this
picked the
is
Rockets.
what they showed. Yeah.
On this podcast, I picked the Rockets because I thought at home they're athletic enough. If they turn the ball over, their half court offense wasn't great in this series, and it was pretty awful. But game 5 and 6 is more of what I thought we would see from this Rockets team. Now, obviously, I didn't want them to win, but that's what I thought. But there came a point where at Game 7 you realize like they're just not there yet, and we knew that going in. We just didn't know at what point we would see it.
Yeah.
In the first 6 games, we really didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
Game 1 was on the road. Steph Curry kind of shows up a little bit. In Game 2, they responded. They blew him out, and they go down 3-1, and everybody's like, "Well, just throw in the towel. It's over." And they fought back. So I give
Yeah,
them credit,
and I don't
but
care how like we talk about their age, they're still all stars. Steph and Jimmy and Draymond. So, you can be like, "Oh, well the Warriors are kind of old." They're still too skilled that for a young team like the Rockets, you're just if you're not ready, they will beat you up. And that's exactly what happened.
here's my last thought because we got to move on. The Sengun wasn't ready, and I say that because Game 7s are called so differently than any other game. They choke on their whistle. They'll let you play as physical as possible. Knowing that, you have to be aggressive coming out. You cannot be soft. There's a clip of Fred VanVleet at halftime, like right before half, telling Sengun to wake up because he just wasn't, he wasn't himself. He kept pump faking the mid range shots that he'd been taking, these little floaters that Draymond was letting him have the entire series. When he tried to bully Draymond just stood him up, and he couldn't really do anything. He kept asking for foul calls. When you start doing this in Game 7s, that is when you know you're in a bad spot. When you're looking around like who's going to call that for me, that's when you know you're not ready. Because I don't know, like Draymond in this game, besides the one Fred VanVleet thing, didn't say a word to the refs. It's the only game he didn't say a word, and it's because Jimmy and Steph are like, we can't afford for you to have these stupid fouls, these stupid technicals in a game like this. And he just cleared it up. He played his ass off, and he defended at a high level, and that's what it was. So good for the Warriors. They get 1 day rest before they go play a hot Minnesota team who destroyed the Lakers. I don't know if you want to talk about that series, but it was just being out toughed, out hustled, almost getting bullied to a point where the Minnesota Timberwolves was just their entire game plan was put Luka in every action and make him defend somebody. I don't care who it is, and it clearly worked because he couldn't stop me. I don't think if he wanted to, and he's 6'7".
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that whole situation is I really hope next year's LeBron's last year. Because
You think we're getting that territory?
Well, it's like it has been the same basketball from LeBron James' team since 2021. It's like this I would say since they won the finals in 2020, I think this has been the best chance that he's had at making the finals, because I know they made the conference finals in 23, but I didn't give them faith against Denver.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
They got swept.
Yeah, the only people that did were just LeBron stans. But I think anybody that knew saw that Denver was deeper, more athletic, and so I didn't really take.
My problem is they'll always have an excuse, which is that's just the Lakers and LeBron fans in general. But like the excuse is that Minnesota's a better basketball team than you. That should be your excuse. You can have the two best players on the floor, and yet somehow a team like Minnesota, which I don't think that's the case, by the way. I think Ant is an all-around better player than Luka in the playoffs. And I don't mean that because of recency bias, but like Luka is so bad defensively that it almost counteracts how good he is offensively. Like I wish I had the numbers of how many times Luka was the main defender and what that percentage was for Minnesota. Just to see like at what point did like JJ Redick even think about like, hey, I gotta take him off the floor. Like that's how bad defensively he is. If they get a big man, it might change a little bit, but it still won't stop the fact that he can't stay in front of anybody. So
Yeah.
they've got a lot to figure out, and he's a big part of that.
Well, I think for Luca, because I've always believed defense doesn't take skill, it's effort. So I think it's both. I think it's an effort thing, and I do think Luca. I know the Mavericks said he's out of shape. I don't think he's out of shape, but I do think he needs to. I think he does need to get in a little bit better shape, I guess.
Steph Curry is the best example. Steph Curry used to be known as a guy that you could go out every possession back in like the prime days of the Warriors. Then he got in the gym and became stronger physically, to where yes, he's still in the worst defender. He'll still be on Dylan Brooks, but he's not going to get bullied in the post like he used to, in his own. And he just tries hard. Like he knows that if he wants to win a championship, he's got to defend at a high level. Because that's what it doesn't matter what team you've got. If you aren't a top 10 defensive team, you're not going to win a championship. I don't care how good offensively you are. Because even those Warriors teams back in the day with all four guys, they were still a top 5 team defensively. So
Yeah. But the thing why I'm not too worried about it is he still is only 26. Like we're not talking about a 30-year-old. I mean, he's still like I mean, he's
I'm
not.
just worried that he's wasting prime opportunities. You've got LeBron James on your team for maybe another year or two. This should be the time where you're trying your ass off.
Yeah, well that's why like I would love for this offseason to go by and he comes back in the media and everybody's like, "Oh, he
He's
took this
serious.
offseason seriously." And there are some guys that it helps being around that helps your offseason. I'll never forget watching the documentary on the Dream Team. Some of those guys talked about how being around Kobe Bryant really changed their mindset on the game.
Dream
Uh,
team,
Sorry, not the Dream Team, the Redeem
redeem
Team.
team.
Redeem Team. So yeah, being around Kobe Bryant really helped their mindset. But what worries the thing about LeBron James, and you said the physicality, and that's why I kind of want him to retire, is like, and this doesn't help his LeBron fans and all the whole like LeBron over Jordan. When have you ever heard a Kobe Bryant team being out physical or a Michael Jordan team being out physical in the playoffs? They might lose, but like, how does a LeBron James team? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, here's my thing though. I don't, because obviously we weren't alive then, but I don't know what Wizards Jordan was like.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody still. See, that's a hard thing to balance because it's like I don't think did anybody really take Michael Jordan Wizards the same as the LeBron James Lakers. Like people I think still look at LeBron James Lakers as he's still like late Cavs, kind of in his prime. And the reason why is because he still puts up numbers like he's in his prime.
He
So
does, but he just doesn't have the same. Like he's 40 years old.
yeah,
People decline, but watching him try to dunk a ball, it kind of sucks because like you used to see him.
he doesn't just get up. He doesn't fly
It
anymore.
doesn't like his head doesn't get at the rim anymore. It used to be easy where his head's always at the rim, and now it's like his arm kind of has to be the reason that he's dunk. He's obviously still a great athlete, and but like
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
he's a
not the
phenomenal
same.
athlete.
It's
Yeah.
just not the same, and it's not going to be because he's 40 years old, which is why he's learned how to shoot a jump shot, which he couldn't do in his younger days consistently. So his game has evolved, but it's not going to be too much longer before he
Yeah, I
realizes like
think I think next year, this off season, he just needs to announce the farewell tour and be done with it. And the Lakers need to do whatever they can to make sure they give him a which they should be. I don't know why it would just take to his farewell tour. If you have LeBron James, you should be doing that every year. But some of the teams that they've surrounded him with, as far as like depth, has just
yeah.
not been good
Well, and
enough.
here's my thing. If you this is more like the football side of me. If you're LeBron James, you are 41 years old. Is this not the point where you want to win? Is that not the only reason you're playing? If that's the only reason, why the hell are you still making the Lakers pay you $50 million? Take a pay cut and
Well,
let them go
that's the
pay a
thing, man.
center.
I don't think it's he
He lives in
he
LA.
loves
He's got a
LA. I think he
million.
loves LA.
So take a pay cut.
Oh, you're saying take a pay cut. I thought you were gonna say like go to a new team. Um,
Half your team's salary is basically in you, and you get triple the amount of endorsements off the court. You don't.
oh,
He
you're
doesn't
exactly
need that
right.
money. If it's really about winning a championship, you would take a pay cut and you would let them get a center that you really need. If that's
Oh,
really what
you're
it's about.
exactly right.
He's taking a pay cut to stay under the luxury tax. I don't. That is nothing compared to what you're actually making.
Yeah.
Does he deserve to make that? Absolutely. Would I take a pay cut? Probably not. But I'm also not as hell bent on winning a championship as he says he
Well,
is.
to be honest
So
with you, I think the Lakers have they have the leverage because what's stopping them? I guess it's too late now, but like, what would stop them from being like, "Hey, we're going to give you this much money," and LeBron being like, "Are you serious?" And then they're like, "Okay, go to a new team."
yeah, we
Do
got
you really
Luca.
want? Do you really want to move your family to a new team and Bronny's here in LA? Like, the Lakers definitely have the leverage to do something like that. Now,
I don't
do
think
they
Jeannie Buss
have
would do that.
the
The cojones.
balls the balls to do that?
Yeah,
I don't know. And that's the problem with letting a player run your organization is because you lose.
that's been everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
He's built up the team how he wanted, and then when he doesn't get the results, then he's got somebody to blame. Whether it's Russ, even though you wanted them there, whether it's it could be a litany of it could be the coach David Blatt. He finally won one with Ty Lue, but if they didn't win that one, who knows what he would have said about Ty Lue? Like it was just
Yeah,
it's
it's like say
excuse
if the
after
Warriors would have won
excuse.
that game 5 and they never would have came back 3-1. Like what
He
would
broke his right hand, but nobody knew it until after the series was over. Now he's got a sprain that he would have never been able to play the next game, but it didn't matter because the series was over. It's like where are these injury excuses coming from?
Yeah.
That's the part that I get
Yeah.
frustrated with. But
Also,
yeah,
I'm getting really frustrated. I understand that we all, everybody plays for the championship and you want to be healthy for the playoffs. But it goes back to my number one problem with the NBA on how they let too many teams in to the regular season so they make it not matter. Is it seems like I've watched a ton of these playoff games and the broadcasters say this guy has got this injury as he's playing and they go, and we were told that if this was the regular season, he'd be out like for 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's your problem right there. Is they basically are telling the broadcasters are telling you that these teams do not prioritize the regular season or think it's important enough to where they will
right.
sit a not a star player but a pretty important piece for just a month to make sure that it is better than okay. And that's my problem is these guys do not see the regular season as important enough or high level of basketball enough to where they want to play through an injury. Like I truly think that like that was not the mindset in the 80s and 90s. If they were having these injuries, they saw the regular season as important, they would play through them. And that's my biggest problem. So just a
Yeah.
little tidbit on the injuries.
Well, let's talk about one more series and then we'll move on to the second round. Because we're running out of time, unfortunately. The New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. I want to give a shout out to Detroit for just a phenomenal series from a young team like that. They look like they belong there, which is not it's not normal for a team like that, especially a team that has one star. Like you've got Cade Cunningham, and I I don't know who your second option is. Is it Tobias Harris? Is it Malik Beasley? Is it Tim Hardaway Jr., Dennis Schroeder? Like it's a well-rounded team. They are dogs defensively. JB Bickerstaff did a great job with them this year. They took the Knicks toe to toe pretty much every game. I mean, every game was a dogfight until the end, and the inexperience showed a little bit when you got to that fourth quarter, and whether it's the game one where the Knicks went on a 21-0 run, or game 5 or 6 when Cade had a shot to put them up 3 and he misses it, and then New York goes down and scores. Um, it's just little things like that that you're like, the Pistons are so close to flipping this series to where they would be up 3-2 or 3-1. Um, but I thought they were very impressive in my eyes coming out of the East.
Yeah, you've always believed. So
I believed in Cade Cunningham. I never believed in the Pistons.
they did. I mean, I know it was 5, but they made those games tough, and now the Knicks have to go to Boston, and they probably thought it was good, nice little easy series to prep us for Boston, which, it kind of does prep you for Boston playing a hard nosed team like that. So,
You know what's crazy is looking at that Boston series, if the Knicks were deeper, I would think about picking them. And
oh,
it's only
100,
because
100%, 100%.
that and because like I want to pick them so bad, but I just can't. I know
Those
Boston is
starters are
so
going to have to be perfect.
so much deeper. Like when you've got somebody like Kristaps that just comes down and kills you, and you're like, okay, well then you got Peyton Pritchard, then you got Sam Hauser
Hauser.
will have a 15-point game, and you're like, oh my god, like those will be the killing. And one thing that I wanted to mention that I didn't really get to, have you watched the Knicks play? Like I've realized that I don't really watch them in the regular season, and I watched them in the playoffs last year, and I remember them, but watching Josh Hart play basketball kind of pisses me off. The man acts like he's a superstar. He wants every foul call, no matter what. Like the New York Knicks talk to the refs more than any team I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Between
Yeah.
Brunson
Well,
and Hart,
that's just a problem
they're
everywhere. Well, you
yeah, it
mentioned
is, but
You
they're
mentioned
awful.
Sagoon. You mentioned Sagoon. I've seen these playoffs. These guys know that it's gonna be called more physical, but they still
Mm-hmm.
get into. I mean, even Jokic in Game 1 of the Clippers Nuggets game almost cost the Nuggets. He got a technical down the stretch for arguing calls, and I'm like, man, you just have to. I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, Josh
Yeah, it's
Josh Hart.
just
I love Josh Hart. He's a scrappy player. I know he does complain, uh, but
well, it's just
the
like
Knicks
Jalen
are.
Brunson complains, Joel Embiid complains, Sengun complains, but they're also the best players on their team. Josh Hart, you're the 5th option on your team. You shouldn't say a word to a ref unless it's absolutely blatant. It's just like every call where he's like looking around. It's like, dude, you just blew a layup. Go back in on defense, which he will because he's a dog. It's so frustrating to watch as a fan where it's like, can you all just shut up for like 10 seconds to go play actual basketball instead of having every possession be like, what foul can I get on this possession? It's mind boggling.
Well, you'll get to see it tonight, thankfully, because I don't think he's gonna get too many calls playing at the Garden, or
No.
I should say, not Madison Square, but TD.
TD, of course.
But man, thank the Lord, Knicks Celtics, New York Boston.
City.
Anytime you get those two going up against each other, it is the best thing that can happen. I'm so excited for this series. It is going to be the crowds on both sides are going to be awesome because those two cities just hate each other. So it's going to be great. And I
So then my
really hope
question is, because we're going to do some predictions, is at what do you think Knicks can take them to 6 or 7?
I think they can take him to 6.
Really?
Yeah, because I think they are hard nosed, and I do think they are too talented for this to just be 5. So I tell you what, I think their best chance at least making it to 6 is winning tonight, because those game ones you're trying to feel each other out and see where the physicality is, and a lot of different things can happen. And I've seen like a ton of. I remember Bucks were playing the Celtics. This was actually when we were in college. I think it was 2019. And this was when Kyrie was on Boston. And the Boston Celtics went into Milwaukee and torched them. And everybody gave up on Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I think, went on to win 4 in a row. So those game ones can be so wishy washy that I think if the Knicks are going to make this a series, tonight kind of has to feel like a must win. So that, I guess, you know what? That'll be my prediction. They go into TD Garden, they win that game, and then they're 2-2 going back to Boston, and then Boston wins, they go up 3-2, and then they're just gassed going into game 6, and then Boston gets it done in New York.
It sucks. I'm torn because I like my heart want or my gut wants me to say Boston in 5, and it's an easy gentleman's sweep. Um, but then I like start my brain starts to think about it, and then I'm like, Jalen Brunson finishes those games for New
Oh,
York, but also it's like you're not dealing with. But Asor Thompson is a great defender, and he made him look like a rookie again. Um, but it's like you got Jalen Brown and Derek White going to be guarding you nonstop, and he's already tired from the last series. But then I'm like, Mikal Bridges could be the one to kind of take over because he, at times in that series, was the guy in the fourth quarter to take those shots.
yeah. I think
Um,
Cat's got to really be
that's the
big.
biggest one. He's got to be better than Porzingis
Yeah.
consistently. Like every game has to be better than Porzingis.
Well, I think with Cat, if you can defend him well on the perimeter, and I think we've both believed this, you'll be fine against Porzingis because as big as he is and a great shooter as he is, Cat's going to be more physical than him in the paint. I truly believe that. And Cat's not
I don't know.
and that's the thing is Cat's not man, I've
That's when
seen
you just
Chris
throw Al Horford out there, and Al Horford's going to make him look like a punk.
well, Al Horford will, but I'm talking to like defensively. Because Kristaps backing somebody down, he's just never been good at doing that.
Oh yeah, no. You mean on that side of the ball? I thought you meant okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about
Well,
like if you're
Kristaps is gonna do the same thing. He's gonna post up in the mid, like not the block, but
yeah
not the free throw line. It's that the middle area, and he's gonna turn around, face up, and just either fade away
shoot
or
over
shoot
you, try
over
to
him.
shoot over you, yeah.
Was it
And that's
seven
why I
three? I
say
don't.
like Cat needs to get in his body, and
Yeah,
because Kristaps is not going to drive on him, so like that's how I would guard him if I was Cat. I would even in the 3, I would not try to help out. I would deny the basketball and stay on him. Which everybody else has got to do their part, and I know that's going to be tougher when you're guarding Tatum and all those guys 1-on-1. But
I just think if the Knicks have any shot in this series, it's like somebody like Miles McBride is going to have to be
yeah,
consistently good off the bench. You have to have somebody that you can rely on so that your guys aren't playing 45 minutes a night against Boston because that could be by game 3 they could be all be
yeah.
dead. Like it's
Deuce does worry me. This will be his real first test.
but if
Against
he's going
Bot.
against Peyton Pritchard, like offensively, I don't defensively Pritchard's good, but I think Deuce could see that matchup and go, I could be confident in that matchup that I can try to
Yeah,
win that.
that is a 2020 special right there. College basketball special. Peyton Pritchard and
West
Deuce
Virginia native.
McBride. Should have had that in the
Um,
tournament, but is what it is.
Move on to we'll shortly talk about Cleveland Pacers. Pacers win game 1 last night. They still went on the road. Still no Darius Garland. Donovan Mitchell goes 1 for 11 from 3. Evan Mobley kind of dissipated. The Cavs just feel like the same old Cavs where you let somebody like Tyrese Halliburton come in and just steal game 1, and the Pacers were ready for it. And I think Rick Carlisle is a big piece in that. Um, you've got to change something up.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter's going to have to guard Halliburton full time, or something's got to happen to where, and maybe it's just a bad offensive game, and maybe that's what it is. Ty Jerome, between him and Donovan Mitchell, they shot 50 shots, and Jerome went 8 for 20, and Mitchell went 1 11 from 3. So maybe just a few more threes, and that game's a little different, but just the way that it felt was like, oh, the Pacers they are the
Yeah.
most confident team.
Yeah, actually, so I didn't get to watch that game. I actually am running it back. Um, and I've watched the first half, and during the broadcast, they said Kenny Atkinson was worried about the thing that he was worried about the most was the pace that the Pacers would bring. And this has got to be frustrating as a fan, but it's like first game at home, the crowd was rocking, and the Pacers controlled,
Yeah.
no pun intended, the pace of the game. Like TJ McConnell was coming off the bench, sprinting down the lane, making good passes. Halliburton was doing his thing. Nimhard was hitting everything.
Yeah, wait till the fourth quarter. Wait till you get to the fourth quarter.
And Pascal Siakam, man, I think we might be looking at that Raptors team as one of the most underrated teams to win a championship. Like I'm trying to think of the guys on that team. Kawhi, I mean Kawhi's unbelievable. Pascal
Pascal.
Siakam, who is an underrated player.
Yeah.
He's physical. He was shooting a little bit. Just solid. Fred
Fred
Van Vliet,
VanVleet.
who is, if we're being
Fuck
honest
that
with
guy.
you, turned into the reason that was a series against the
Yeah.
Warriors. And Fred Van Vliet was coming off the bench for that Raptors team.
And Fred VanVleet's the reason the Rockets won 2 games in a row. Fred
Yes.
VanVleet was, if he had a big game 7, the Rockets could have had a shot.
Yes.
Um,
Norman Powell.
Norman Powell, OG Anunoby.
I mean, that team was kind of loaded.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that if that was a team still?
I mean, Kyle Lowry was still starting.
They would be the favorites. They would be the
Yeah.
favorites.
Just a young,
I know Kyle Lowry's
young
still
team.
playing. I guess the only guy that's not playing is Marc Gasol.
And Marc Gasol was a dog too.
But I mean, if you get some other pieces, like, can you imagine that lineup right now? Van Vliet.
That's why Kawhi went there. I mean, I know he didn't like choose to go there, but like that's why the Raptors made a move. Like this is our one shot to take, and they took it and they made it. I mean, that is a ballsy move to get a guy for 1 year just to win a championship. Like that is.
But they probably saw it like we did. They were like, "Hey, we're actually loaded. We just need somebody to take us over the top." And
just being on the inside of an NBA facility like that, and being able to see guys like Norman Powell and OG, and you're like, "We've got something here," when nobody else really knows it. On the outside, that's gotta be so fun to be like, we can win a championship if we get that guy, and then you get him, and you're like, we've got it now.
100%. But yeah, man, that Pacers team, they just underrated, and no surprise, we talked about this. It's just the Indiana Pacers are. But
I think the biggest part is, like, the Cleveland Cavaliers offense. While it does run through Donovan Mitchell, a lot of it gets facilitated by Darius Garland. And Ty Jerome is a good player, but he is a good scorer first. And some of those shots in the fourth quarter were just like, if you had a point guard that was, collected and calm, those shots wouldn't have happened. Ty Jerome took some quick ones, and then he would get into the offense, and it would take like, they get down to 16 or 14 before the offense started. And you're like, well, you're going to get a late shot, which, is never great. But it just felt like they need somebody out there to control the tempo, especially when the Pacers are running up and down the floor like they are. If you get in a racing match with them, you're not going to win.
No, but
which is so weird. They don't have a great team. I mean, maybe this is.
They just don't have superstars.
They got Tyrese. They've got Pascal, who's a good star. He's a fringe star. Aaron Nesmith.
I think Turner is a solid center.
They were trying to trade that guy for 5 years straight. He's a good player, but he's not what they never took that next step that they thought he was going to. But he's a very good player. I like him a lot. I think Aaron Nesmith is very underrated. He's just a 3-and-D guy, which is what you need in this league. Somebody like Nimhard that just comes in and hits big-time shots, not afraid of the moment.
I think their bench, a lot of people don't talk about their bench because when you have McConnell, which McConnell in the playoffs just turns into like Peyton Pritchard kind of dude.
Yeah.
And
Obi Toppin.
Yeah, Obi Toppin plays good defense, plays solid, athletic, and then Benedict Mathurin.
Yeah, which I like him.
I love me some Arizona Wildcats, Benedict Mathurin. So, I think the reason just why nobody takes this team seriously is because even if they do beat Cleveland, There's no way they're going to beat Boston.
Yeah.
And
But
unfortunately,
that's how
I
I feel
think
about
that's
Cleveland. I feel if Cleveland, even if the Knicks win this series against Boston, I don't think Cleveland has a shot against New York. I think whoever comes out of this Boston series is going to win
when the
easily the
yeah.
East. Because like it's just it's a different level down there than what the like Cleveland. They showed me in game one, and unless they can come back and gentlemen sweep the rest of the side, they're not ready. Like still, they just either don't have the guy. Maybe Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs isn't. Maybe it's just James Harden that's right-handed, um, and that's a awesome thing to have in the regular season. But when you're in the
Yeah.
playoffs, it's never great. Um, it's just I don't know. It's a weird team.
No,
They
I think Cleveland though is in a lot of trouble after that game one loss.
because Garland hasn't showed anything in the playoffs in the last few years to tell me that he's ready. So I need to see it from him. Donovan Mitchell is inconsistent as he's always been inconsistent, but especially in the playoffs. Evan Mobley, while in the regular season has taken that next step, he hasn't. I mean, we haven't got to the point where he needs to yet, but I haven't seen it yet. Um, he played great in the first round, but it was the first round, and they were going to win no matter what. So
Yeah.
still no pressure. So I just want to see him in high pressure situations like game one and see how they respond. And in game one, they didn't respond very well. So how many more of those can they get and fight through?
Yeah, if you ask for my prediction, I definitely think it's going to
I
be
think,
Celtics Pacers back to back years.
which is crazy.
That yeah, just from the
When you look
Pacers
back at
side.
this league, you still like when people think back 30 years from now, they're going to have the same conversation we had 45 minutes ago, which was, you know, if Jason Tatum was in the West.
Yeah,
I mean, because
I think so because it.
Jason Tatum has went to what 10, like 8 straight Eastern Conference
Yeah, I
Finals
mean
or some
that's
shit.
the thing is like, what if Jason Tatum rattles off like 4 finals and he starts getting that conversation, and then that's because believe me, I know there's LeBron haters. I know for a fact there is
Yeah,
Jason Tatum haters.
and the Celtics have a like this year window pretty much. Like it was last year and this year, and this is the year that the team's about to break up. And whether it's Drew Holiday that leaves, whether it's Porzingis that has to go, like somebody's gonna have to go. So
Who do you think? Who do you think? Because Shams did have that report of the league is
the second
confirming what you
apron,
just said. Like they're expecting there to be some turnover with the
I know
Celtics.
with the way that the contracts are constructed, it would almost have to be Drew Holiday. I think he's
Yeah.
making,
Well,
which
I
sucks.
think that one you can move Pritchard into that spot. I think he's ready to be the starting point guard
Yeah,
of the Boston. Now, is
I
the defense going to be as great?
I just don't think
No,
that like
but
the age side, you're not going to move Derek White yet. Porzingis, you still might lose both. You might lose Holiday and Porzingis, but
I
you
think
still
if
got
they
a
still
squad.
have a core of Jalen Brown, Tatum, and White, you're still going to be fine.
Yeah, and
And also, the
they'll
Celtics is a
replace,
great front office. I think
especially with Brad Stevens, they're going to replace him with
they'll be
somebody.
fine. They'll figure it out.
But you just won't have the stacked roster that you have now,
Yeah,
um, and that's fine. But take advantage of while you got it. And this is the last year that you have it. So, um, you better hope you get the Pacers in the Eastern
in
Conference
the
Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah.
But
But yeah, that's why. Yeah, after watching that first game, um, I do think the Cavs are in trouble. I know I've loved the Knicks and I've been riding them all year, but second thoughts, changing my mind. Celtics in 6.
I think I've got Celtics at 5, and I've got Cavs in 7. I think the Cavs will come back and show some fight. But I think that Celtics series will show you why they're not even close to being ready. All right, quickly, we'll we'll move on to the Thunder Nuggets because I know you want to get this one in. Um, the Thunder dominated the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies really weren't where they weren't full health, and they weren't really good when they were. That first round series was pretty easy for OKC. Memphis did show some fight in Game 4, and then OKC came back. Denver just got off a tough Game 7 series. Luckily, they did blow them out, so they were able to rest some of the starters in the fourth quarter. That kind of lets them have a day and a half instead of just a day rest. But Game 1 is tonight, and what tonight of recording? What do you see for this series?
I got the Thunder in 6 games is my prediction. I will say, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, if the Denver Nuggets did not have Russell Westbrook, they would have not won in the first round.
Which is
He
crazy. Game
he
1,
was that good. Game 1, game
game
7,
game 7.
game 4, or no, he was out for
Was it
game 4.
was it
Um,
5? Game 5?
Game 5, he had now game 5. That was Murray had the 43 points and
Oh yeah.
but game 1 and game 7. And what shocked me the most, I mean, his defense was phenomenal, but it was the shot making. The Clippers were letting him shoot threes, and he was making them, and it was killing the Clippers. He probably had one of the coolest playoff
Technicals.
moments with the technical.
That's
He
awesome.
looked at the ref, told him to tee him up, and then so.
Crowd.
But you know what? This is Bruce Brown. This is who Bruce Brown was and what made Denver so dangerous. Now the problem is like other than Westbrook, they've had nobody else. Now Peyton Watson, for some reason, I mean every game 7, everything was going in.
Yeah.
Peyton Watson had probably the best game of his life. And when I knew that, he had a corner 3 from the far side contested. When he shot it, I literally said, "What are you doing?" And then it went in. And then that's when I was thinking to myself, maybe it really is just our night. And it was. Everything was falling for everybody. So I still have 6 because the Thunder, their bench is unbelievable. And what the Nuggets have to go through in this 7-game series. There were quotes from the players and the coaching staff. They said it felt like the Western Conference Finals, the way this series was played. So, um,
I
I,
just
I
feel like I feel like the Thunder have a better shot of winning on the road than
then
the
Then
Nuggets,
Denver does, yeah,
because I don't think Denver can steal one in OKC. Not with that crowd, not with the way that the
yeah,
Thunder play at home, not with the role players playing the way they play at home. There's a reason Peyton Watson was hitting shots in Game 7 is because the Denver Nuggets were at home. Peyton Watson's not going to hit those shots on the road in
no,
OKC. That's just how it is. But Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, they're going
those
to
guys will
have
hit them in Denver.
somebody will have 20, and maybe they won't hit them in Denver, but they're definitely going to hit them in OKC. And I think there will be a one game where Shea really shows up in Denver that will kind of steal one from them. But I'm kind of with you. I think it's going to be OKC in 6. Um, but man, it'll be fun to see
Yeah,
because Jokic just had the hardest person to guard him, or the best person to guard him in his career for 7 games. Now he gets to go against either Hartenstein or Holmgren at all times, and you better hope Holmgren's not on the floor for very long if you're OKC by himself, because that man will be put in a
yeah, I'm not.
blender.
Like Zubac guarded him well, but even Hartenstein, I'm really not worried about. But they're going to double team Jokic. That's the
Correct.
thing. So, but yeah, if Jokic does get a one-on-one
But that
opportunity
was
with Chet or with Hartenstein, he better go to the basket every single time.
part of the reason that the Clippers series went so well is because they were at times okay with leaving Zubac 1-on-1 and just
Yes.
saying, let's see what happens when you go man up. And sometimes it worked out for him, and that usually isn't the case when you play Jokic. So
Yeah.
obviously that won't be the case in this series. A lot of doubles, a lot of guys that are going to get open shots that We'll see if they hit him.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Jokic was actually awful offensively, or shooting wise in game 7. And
But it
it was a
didn't
lot of,
matter.
like, it seemed like he didn't really, like, he was in between on shooting the free throw or driving on Zubac, and that hesitant. He was short on some shots. So, um, last thing I'll say, at least for the beginning series, I would like to see the Nuggets not double Shea. I would like to see them throw Aaron Gordon or Christian Brown. Christian Brown had to guard James Harden the entire series, and Shea has been struggling to shoot the ball against Memphis. So I would like to just see the one-on-ones, and then if Shea's going off for 50 points and he's 50% from the field, then you can change it. But when they played in the regular season, they were doubling Shea, and then everybody else was hurting them. And Shea was like 10 of 30 from the field. And I was like, why don't we just make him prove that he's going to take over this game? So that's how I would like to see Denver guard him, is make Shea prove that he is going to take over in this series, and if he does, then you just tip your cap and
Especially in the
deal with
playoffs
it.
where the foul baiting isn't, you're not going to get to the
Yeah,
line 17 times. So let's see if he can actually score without the free
yeah,
throw line as much. So I don't mind that at all. Let your guys. I'd even throw Peyton Watson on him for a little bit and say, hey,
oh yeah,
go see if he can defend Shea one on one.
definitely. And I think, and I was thinking about this. I think throwing Aaron Gordon on him. Now it'd be tougher because you have Hartenstein and Chet. But I mean, if you like, Aaron Gordon's a big dude. Uh, I think, like, if you get kind of physical with Shea, and Christian Brown too is a physical guy. So
Here's my biggest X factor is who's going to guard Jalen Williams because
yeah.
like if he's got Jamal Murray or MPJ on him, like it's going to be a tough series.
Well,
Um,
never mind. This is actually what I was thinking about the matchups the other night. I actually think it would be a good idea to have MPJ guarding Chet. Is what I came up with,
that's smart.
because they're the same size. At least on those threes, Michael Porter Jr. can
Contest a
what is
little bit.
it? Contest. Now, when Chet decides to drive, MPJ's just going to have to move his feet. But if you put Aaron Gordon, this is what I was going to say: Aaron Gordon on Jalen Williams, Christian Brown on Shea, and then Jamal Murray on Lou Dort. I think
Yeah.
there's,
Now
mindset wise,
you throw the flip side of that, which is Lou Dort's going to be on Jamal Murray,
yeah,
pretty much full court. Then you've got guys like you might throw Shea on MPJ because Shea's 6'6" and he's got long arms and he could probably contest a shot if he needed to.
yeah.
Or you could put him on Christian Brown and say, hey, you're a help side defender. I think defensively for OKC is where they're
Yeah,
going to make
because
most of their.
and this is the frustrating part about MPJ. The Nuggets actually have a mismatch, I believe, on the offensive side, and but they don't, because of the player that MPJ is. Let's say the Thunder go with Chet on MPJ and then Jalen Williams on Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon can back him down every single time and get what he wants.
He can do it the other way too. Even if you have Chet on Aaron Gordon, you can still.
Yeah, he can, but this is where it's ruined. Aaron Gordon can score on Chet, not as much. But if you have MPJ on Jalen Williams, MPJ should be able to back him down, shoot a fadeaway over him, and score every single time. But MPJ is going to stay around the perimeter. So,
Here's why, because Jalen Williams is the most stout NBA player I've ever seen. This man went from what looked like 195 to 230 in about a year after his rookie year. The problem with MPJ is he'll get in that mid to post area, that Carmelo Anthony range area, and
he won't do
he
anything.
won't even he won't try to back him down. It'll
No.
immediately be a fadeaway
That's the
from
problem. Yeah.
19 feet. And you're like, what? Are we shooting long twos? He goes,
Yeah.
I don't mind a two if it's a fadeaway, if you get three dribbles in and then you get into a guy and figure out which way you're going to go.
Yeah.
But his immediate thought is turn face up and shoot,
Yeah.
which at
I know
6'11
that's going to be
should be a cheat code.
yeah. I know that's going to frustrate the heck out of me is when there's a one-on-one situation. MPJ on the far side, he's got Williams on him, and I'm going to be screaming at my TV, just back him down. You got like 5 inches on him,
Yeah,
and
Jalen
he's
is like
gonna
six
step
five.
back, contested three, and he might still hit it,
Yeah,
but that's the frustrating part,
yeah.
given his physical traits. So, but yeah,
Well, I want to throw a quick prediction for the Timberwolves Warriors. This is the first time in 11 years that the Warriors are underdogs in a playoff series, which is I didn't realize that. So that's on me. I'll take that as far as I've been a bad fan because I complained about a few things here and there, and that's on me. 11 years
they were
without being
even in against the Celtics in the finals.
apparently
Wow, I thought they would be the underdog in that
apparently
one.
unless the post that I saw is fake, which it could be. Um, but yeah, 11 years or 10 plus years of pretty much being not an underdog the entire series, and I don't think they're wrong. I think Minnesota is going to win in five, and it's going to get kind of ugly. The size of Minnesota is troublesome for the Warriors. They showed it with Steven Adams. Rudy Gobert is a better player than Steven Adams. As much shit as we give Rudy Gobert on this channel, Draymond Green might try to like bully him a little bit mentally and see if he's ready for it. Um,
Yeah, he
but
will.
like nobody's gonna. We don't have a guy who can defend Anthony Edwards. The Warriors can't stay
Well,
in
in
front of him,
fairness, not a lot of teams do.
and the physicality they just like the Houston Rockets just set out a blueprint for Steph Curry of like, don't let him touch the ball, don't let him see the light of day, double him on every pick and roll at half court. He doesn't get a shot that's comfortable, and you just got to hope that Jimmy finds a way to go at Jaden McDaniels, which is not going to be easy. Like the matchups are every bit in Minnesota's favor, um, and Anthony Edwards is that guy. Like he has taken down the biggest names in sports. He took down Kevin Durant and Devin Booker when the Suns were supposed to be, some hotshot team. He took down the previous champions in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. He just took down LeBron James and Luka Doncic. He's probably going to take down Steph Curry. And if he takes down OKC, we might have to have a different conversation about
Oh
where this
yeah, if
league
he
is
if
at.
he beats if he beats that Thunder team to go to the finals at what is he
Yeah, 20.
23, 24 years old? Yeah, they're
It might get
again, I'm a
uncomfortable.
hater. I am a
Yeah,
full Anthony Edwards hater, and I'm not going to enjoy it. But
yeah.
yeah, we might need to have some combos.
There's a reason people kept saying like he's the next face of the league. I don't think that's the case just because it's hard to be the face of the league when you get 16 techs in a year. He might be the Draymond face of the league where he's like, oh, you don't. That's not the best guy to model your game after. The it's just the competitive spirit that he's got that is just like it's a different drive when he gets to the playoffs, man. It's just like defensively he will guard. And if he gets on Steph Curry, he wants that challenge.
Yeah.
Like he
Oh, he's built
wants
for it. Yeah.
it's just you can tell the difference in some players, and he's just got it. Like there's so many athletic guys. There's guys like Jonathan Kaminga who's an athlete, but he's just mentally he's not there. He's not even close to being there. And I don't know. It's fun to watch that side of basketball where it's like you can be the most athletic guy in the room, but if you're not checked in up here and you're not ready to go, you're not gonna have a shot in this league when it comes down to crunch time. So quick prediction: Minnesota in five. It's gonna get ugly. But it was a
I'll
fun one.
go. I'll go 7.
No,
Because I'll go
no
7 just
shot.
because Steph. and Jimmy, and I'm a hater, so I'll go 7.
Fair enough.
For the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
At least
Fair
I can
enough.
admit to it.
Yeah, I hate Fred VanVleet. I'll say that. I don't care. That's not the person you want to hate because he's
Yeah.
not really.
Respect.
Yeah,
But
respectfully hate.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
and
He almost
you
did
know
it
it's
again.
it's a good thing that players want to have haters. I feel like, or else they're not doing good. So
You got to give somebody some motivation.
yeah, you're not
Why
gonna be
so?
liked by everybody.
Yeah,
So it's a good thing when you're not being liked.
means you're talked about.
Why words of wisdom here
From Matthew Hargrove.
from
Um,
Stiegel's GM.
all right. Well, we'll get out of here and we'll talk next week and see how bad these predictions actually were.